It's the third game across the league, the second back-to-back here from the birthplace of hockey on High Button Sports. My name's Dayton Camo, getting you set inside the West Hand Sports Complex in Windsor, Nova Scotia. It's the boys from the Bay, the St. John Vitos, taking the trip down here to the Annapolis Valley to take on the Valley Wildcats. We'll get your starting goaltenders in just a moment as teams get set to skate to center ice. Manning the pipes this afternoon for the St. John Vitos, number 35, Luca Riva, and 200 feet from him, it'll be Jaron Maxwell in between the pipes for the Cats. If you just missed it, the Dartmouth Voyageurs took down the Cape Breton Jets 4-3 in a shootout just about a half hour ago. We'll take a look at the schedule across the league today. Things started out in LC Pugtog at 11 with the Western Rebels and Moncton Thunderbirds. The Rebels victorious in that one. The Voyageurs and Jets here from Windsor. And now the Wildcats and Vitos. Two more to go after this. But for now, all eyes are here in Windsor. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, but there's no love on the ice, I can tell you that. As Alex Cutler gets set to face off with Zach Banks. Cutler wins this one. And it's down to the Vitos zone. Godden and Arbo out there to start things off defensively for the Vitos. Dennis and Godden working up through center. That was Bellier, excuse me. Now Pearson behind the net. Down low, Talon Pearson. Tried to play it up the wall. That was intercepted. Ringette's got it, and he'll send it down the ice. Jackson Ringette trying out a new color of blade tape. Ringette usually going with a white. Got some black on the stick this afternoon. And out comes a new look line of Trip Livingstone, Shawn Ahern, and Sam Whitaker. This one's played up the wall. Livingstone got a stick on it, but down the ice it goes. McKinnon gives chase. He's got McCrae barreling in on him, as well as Cohen Pearl. Cormier's got a handle of McCrae down there in the corner, and this one's worked up the far side wall. Whitaker plays it in. McKinnon down there joining the rush. Try to play it back to the point. His stick was tied up down low. Out to center. McCrae bats at that one. And McKinnon's back for it. McKinnon up the wall. That one tipped on its way in. Linesman says no ice. Colby Troop back to pick this one up for the Cats. Out at center. Jack Terrace has got a hold of this one. He sends it in. Nickerson gets control, plays it around the end wall. Shanks giving chase on the far side. Troop gets there first. Cormier and Shanks out here defensively. This one's lifted out to center. Troop quickly playing one up the near side wall. Nickerson knocks at it. And Riva will stop that with the stick, setting it up for his defenseman. That one's touched as well on the way down, so no icing as Cameron Wilson goes back and gives chase offensively. On the far side, McQuaid pinching in. McQuaid not in the lineup last weekend with the Vitos. He was up with the major squad. Now back for Sutter McQuaid. Across for Shanks, and he'll give McQuaid the return feed. And they work it up through center. A whistle will come. Might have hit someone on the bench there. But the face-off will come back down into the Vitos zone. Maxwell getting back to his crease. A little bit of a gear issue, we'll call it, down there. He'll get set. Face-off is one back into the slot. Blandon shot off a pad, turned aside by Riva. On the far side, Ketty gets to it first. He'll take a bump from Godden down low. Blandon back on it, sending one to the slot. That's out of the reach of anybody in a white jersey. Trip Livingstone will poke it ahead. Cooling and Livingstone back out here, along with Jacob Greeley. That one sent to the back door. Maxwell able to get a pad on it. Godden sent it back from the point. That one's blocked away by Maxwell. And the second chance opportunity is into the corner by Livingstone. Godden to the captain. Trying to make a move. Had Cooling going to the back door. And you know those two, they can thread the needle, get one to one another. As that one goes off the blocker from the shot from Arbo. Off the draw. That one's sent out front. Pearl on it. And he'll send it up the wall for Banks. A shot goes in. That's wide of the glove of Riva. And on the far side, Gosling able to keep it in. Arbo up through center. Tries to leave it there for Bellier. But it makes its way back to McKinnon at the point. He's going to walk. Drops it off for Pearson, and this one's turned aside. Quickly worked up the other way by Pearl. But down the ice, it'll go for an icing call. McRae unable to beat out the icing. So back down to the Wildcat zone we go. Cutler tried to play one out front. That's off the pad of Maxwell, cleared to the side. Pearl able to leave it there for Banks, who picks it up. That one's off the pad of Maxwell once again. Out to center. Poked ahead, picked up by Max McKinnon. He spins it back up the wall for Cormier. Noah Cormier trying to make a move out front, and that one just missed the stick of Cutler. Cormier showing his best offensive moves there at the blue line as McKinnon picks it up behind his own net. He's giving chase down low. Negerson strips him of the puck and sends it back around the wall. And this one finds Kaysen Cooling out to center. Cooling to the backhand. That's turned aside by Maxwell. Tried to slip it through the 5-hole. The league's leading point scorer, Kaysen Cooling, almost had another. He's out there with Shauna Hearn and Sam Whitaker. Meanwhile, Terrace picks it up for the Wildcats, breaking away. They've got numbers. It's a 2-on-1 for Valley. Terrace fires one on. That's turned aside by Riva. Picked up the other way by Whitaker off the skate of Cooling and out to center. Ahern first on it. He beats out the icing call. Ahern makes a move. That one's played back into the corner for Cooling. Gets a stick on him momentarily, and Terrace will play it up for Breen. Jack Terrace once again trying to get a shot on. He does, and it's turned aside off the shaft of the stick of Luca Riva. It sounded like Jack Ringette up the far side to Madden Blandon. Madden Blandon pointing each of his last 10 games. 10 points in 10 for Madden Blandon. Thanks to the Wildcats Facebook page for that stat. This one's played out to center. Blandon picks it back up, chipping it to the wall, but that escapes the zone. Gambin trying to play it forward, find an option there. He'll gather it up at center, but it's turned aside and played back for Carson O'Toole. He sends one on, that's blockered aside by Maxwell. Sent back into the slot. McCray now, moving up ice. That's turned on. And Riva will hold on, covering that one up at the top of his crease. A face-off will come to his glove side. Daglin Banks on the draw. It's one back by Daglin, sent up the wall. Wilson there. Runs into Gosling at the point. Sent back up through center, and that one's worked offside by the Vitos. A little bit of a miscue out at center, right on the wrong side of the blue line. This one's played to the far side for Cohen Pearl. He lays a bump there on Cormier. And now Wilson picks it back up. That one goes out to center, touches something up in the ceiling. We'll take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Valley Wildcats. Not much left. They'll play tomorrow at the Credit Union Center in Kingston. And that's the last home game of the season for the Wildcats. They're on the road at Fundy, at the Bucks, and then here in Windsor for 2 versus the Vs. This one's sent back to the point. Cormier pinches in on the far side. Nickerson works out, but McKinnon able to turn it back. McKinnon and Nickerson giving a couple of shoves, and McKinnon gets a stick up high on Nickerson. No call. That'll be sent the length of the ice, and the Wildcats will go back for the face-off. We'll take a look at the Vitos schedule coming up for the rest of the season. Only 4 games left. Tomorrow they'll go up to LC Pug Tug, take on the Moncton Thunderbirds, and then their last home game at the Peter Murray Arena next weekend. That's against the Basin Armada, who sit first place in the league right now. Shanks dumps it in. Gets back to the point. He'll get the cross ice feed. Looking up ice. That's tipped in by Greeley. And back for Grayson Shanks. He'll go up ahead in through center. That's poked by Cooling to Livingstone. And he'll send one through the crease. Kept it on the far side. Down to Livingstone. He'll work over in the slot. Maxwell's got it. And that one's turned aside. 11:09 left to go in the opening frame. Off the face-off. Blandon plays one up through center. Ketty takes a bump from Shanks. And this one makes its way back out to center ice. Ringette will gather up and play it back up the near side wall. But Bellier muscles his way in through neutral ice into the offensive zone. Lays a bump down in the corner to Ringette. This one gets to the line. Kept in by Arbo. He tried to play it alongside the line, but Pearl was the first one with the stick on it. Blandon now will send one further up ahead. Arbo controls. Pearson threw one up through center, almost taken away by McCray. And worked back into neutral ice. Cameron McRae has tied Jack Terrace for the team lead in points now for the Wildcats. As Cutler gathers it up on the far side, Banks trying to strip him of the puck. And it's worked forward. Off a stick, Arbo threw it up through center. Racing after that is Gambin, and that'll be an icing call. So 9:45 to go here in the opening frame. We'll go back down to the Vitos zone for the faceoff. This one will come to the blocker side of Luca Riva. Breen and Cutler on the draw. It's won by Breen to Nickerson. He spins a shot on. That's off a skate. And off the wall they go. Livingstone will send one cross ice. Whitaker's first to it. Cutler let it go. He'll go off for a change. And Whitaker picks it back up. Back for Arbo. The pass up through center. Arbo will head off for a change. Cormier comes on to replace him. It's down into the near side corner. Ahern trying to fend off the pressure down low from Colby Troop. Played up to center. Terrace gets it ahead for Nickerson. Nickerson leaned into there by McKinnon. And they'll meet on the far side. McKinnon plays it back around the wall. Cormier up the half wall further out to neutral ice. And Nickerson plays it back into the offensive zone for Max McKinnon. Back out at center, Cormier gathers it up, and he'll go D to D for McKinnon, who sends one up the far side wall. O'Toole into the slot. That's taken away by the stick of Josh Cameron. Back to Cormier, who sends one through. And now back down through center. Cormier had that one go by him. He gets after it and plays it up the wall. And right back down for Cormier. Goes cross ice for McKinnon. He's got Cohen Pearl after him. And now Cormier, back behind his own net. Carson O'Toole trying to work into the offensive zone. That one taken away. Back across for Shanks. And that one's lifted into the zone. Gambin's on it. They'll play that down the wall. Got sent back in by Shanks. And now breaking in, Pearl got that headman pass, tried to play it into the slot. Banks is there, he rips one just wide. And Pearl unable to stuff that second chance past Luca Riva. We'll get a face-off down to the blocker side of Riva. McRae and Riva giving each other a talking to. Face-off won by the Cats. Cameron unloads at the point. That one goes off the skate of Wilson. And back up through center. Cameron Wilson's got it. All alone, he's working in. And Maxwell makes a save. Great chance for Cameron Wilson to open the scoring there. Now at the top of the zone, O'Toole gets the return feed on the half wall. He has the stick worked right out of his hands. Kicks it back to Wilson. A good play there by O'Toole, who was stickless. Dagler tries to go back to the top of the zone. McQuaid shoveled it off a body and up into the top of the zone. Shanks now works it forward. Dagler down low, but that one off a skate And back out to the top of the zone. Cormier. Now Wilson. Up through center. Picked up by Neckerson on the far side. Throws it up through center ice. Godden is there for it. Goes cross ice to Arbo. Up through center. Livingstone gets control. Sends a shot off the pad of Maxwell, and that's picked up behind the net by Gambin. Works it up the wall, doesn't escape the zone. Livingstone back down low, looking for someone that's cooling into the slot. Just couldn't get there. Spun back around. Greeley tried to get it to cooling down low. Gets back to Arbo, cleared out of the front of the net by Ringette, and this one's out to center. Godden picks it up quickly. He's got room to move, but that one's poked off his stick. And back out to center. The Vitos go cross ice, trip Livingstone to cooling. And now Blandon gives chase down low on to McKinnon. That's paid back up the half wall into traffic. And now Livingstone will dig it free. Max McKinnon. Cross ice for Case and Cooling. They'll send one into the offensive zone. Maxwell leaves it there for Colby Troop, who goes up the wall. Into center for Peyton Ketty. They'll send that one into the zone. McKinnon's on it down low. Evades the check from Pearl. And tries to find Cormier cross ice. That pass just a little too hot to handle off the stick of Cormier. And now down low. Livingstone trying to break in, get a chance away. And Banks left it there to be picked up by Cameron. Now a face-off will come. The puck tied up to the boards on the far side. So with 3:19 to go here in the opening frame, we'll get another face-off. The shots are 13-4 in favor of the Vitos. And it'll be Cutler, Bellier, and Pearson out there now. Pearson couldn't get a glove on that one. And that escapes his own. Grayson Shanks going back with Pearl all over him, but he leaves it there. For McQuaid, it's played up the wall. Vitos are offside. They'll have to touch up as McRae goes cross ice. He was looking for Pearl, but that one taken away. Cutler trying to make a move out at center. And back for McQuaid. Up ahead goes Pearson. That shot turned aside, wide of the net. And on the far side, a glove from Sutter McQuaid will send this one into the bench. Back out to neutral ice comes the face-off. Or no, they'll say the face-off will stay in the Wildcats zone. So are Hearn and Breen on the draw, and Breen wins that one back cleanly. Gosling up around the end wall, trying to find the stick of Nickerson, but it's put back into the corner by the Vitos. Cooling down low, let it go. Picked up by Nickerson. Sends it ahead for Jack Terrace. Terrace racing in, and that shot turned aside by Riva. A face-off will come back to Riva's glove side. unable to win that draw. Gets played around the end wall. And now Terrace with a shot. Rebound gets put right back onto his tape. Gosling sends one back into the offensive zone. Good couple of chances this past shift for the Wildcats to get the offensive juices flowing once again as Kaysen Cooling works into the offensive zone. He'll send one into the corner. Troop picks it up from behind his own net. He goes off the wall. That gets back to Arbo at the point. And Breen gets possession starting back up from his own zone. Sends one down the ice, and that'll be an icing call as Arbo touches up. .114 left to go here in the opening frame from Windsor. It's a scoreless game. It's been mostly played down in the Wildcat zone, but that doesn't come without a couple of great chances for the Cats themselves. Breen works it back out to center. McKinnon goes cross ice to Cormier, and he'll get the return feed. Max McKinnon working up, drops for Wilson. He sends one through. That's into the glove of Maxwell, and with 54 to go, he'll hold on. Face off to the blocker side of Maxwell. Daggle tries to pick it up and send it back to Arbo. Goes right onto the stick of Blandon, but he'll get the return feed, sending it back down into the corner for Cameron Wilson. Wilson trying to wrap one in front of the net. And that's off the pad of Maxwell back into the corner. Blandon and O'Toole run into each other. Blandon sends O'Toole down to the ice. And now on the far side, Cormier will rim it around the wall. Down low, a penalty coming now to the Wildcats. Looks like it's going to go to Cameron, a trip. As Wilson went to the ice. The top line will come back out to finish this first period off for the Vitos. We've seen a few different variations of their power play unit lately. And this one will be Cooling, Livingstone with Bellier, Whitaker, and McKinnon. So not too much different. McKinnon and Cooling at the points. Cooling to Livingstone. Scores. It didn't take long for the Vitos power play to strike. It's clicking right now at 32%, and Trip Livingstone finds the back of the net. So off the face-off, it's played back. Cormier goes up through center, and that'll do it for the first period of play. So through 20 minutes, the Wildcats almost escaped with a scoreless period, but Trip Livingstone finds the back of the net on the power play. It's a 1-0 lead for the St. John Vitos here in Windsor. We'll be right back with the second period of play right after this. We're back inside the West End Sports Complex in Windsor, Nova Scotia for the second period of play between the St. John Vitos and Valley Wildcats. Trip Livingstone has the Vitos ahead 1-0 through one period of play. And quickly before we get into the second period, I just wanted to bring this up to everyone's attention. Both of these teams have a local rink that is in the running for Kraft Hockeyville 2026. Rosse Arena in Rosse, New Brunswick, not far from the Q-Plex where the Vitos play their home games, and the Kentville Centennial Arena down in Kentville, Nova Scotia, where a plethora of these Valley Wildcats players would have played growing up, both of them in the running for a nomination this year for Kraft Hockeyville 2026. So head over to Kraft Hockeyville and vote for your local rink and help out these players. They would definitely much appreciate it. We're getting set for the second period of play here from Windsor, and we're underway. This one's worked into the offensive zone by Wilson. Sends it towards the net. It's off his shin pad, and he gets the loose puck to O'Toole. Back to the point to Arbo. His shot didn't make it towards the net, but he gets it back in the slot. And the second chance is off his shin pad. Back down low in front for O'Toole, and they score. Excuse me, Cameron Wilson looks like he got the rebound and the last touch on it. So it'll be Wilson's goal. A little bit of a log jam in front, sent to the back of the net. And nevertheless, it's 2-0 Vitos, and now Cooling walking in back door. Make it 3. Kaysen Cooling played it across. Trip Livingstone on the back door, sends one home. And the Vitos captain has his second of the game. It's 3-0. So timeout has been called by the Wildcats after two quick ones. Just 32 seconds into this one. The Wildcats, they'll look to calm things down. Jaron Maxwell manning the pipes today. They'll look to keep him in between the pipes as long as possible. Tomorrow the Cape Breton Jets are back in town in Kingston. Owen Whittier will have that game, and it'll look to be a little bit of a revenge game in Kingston, as the last time Owen Whittier and the Valley Wildcats faced the Cape Breton Jets, it was Hudson Crawley who finished it in overtime on a breakaway. I was watching that one on my way home from St. John a couple weekends ago. What a game it was, and the Wildcats will have a chance to get back at them tomorrow. But for now, it's a 3-0 Vitos lead as Terrace plays one up the wall. That couldn't escape the zone. Ringette will play one around the end wall. Nickerson there. Up for Gambin. Gambin working up through center, makes a move on Cormier. But Cormier will pin him to the wall down low. Greeley pokes it ahead. And a long stretch pass for Kaysen Cooling in all alone. He scores. Kaysen Cooling adds to the league lead. It's 4-0 Vitos. Pearson gives chase down low. Camo tried to get a stick on it. That one pops out to Bellier. Bellier's shot goes off his shin pad. A penalty coming now down low to the Wildcats as man was tied up. I believe it was Cameron who had a stick. So it will be Josh Cameron going off to the box for the hold. Wilson, O'Toole, Daggle with Cormier and Godden on the far side. Off the face-off. Goes back. Cormier sends a shot through. That goes wide of the net, off the wall. Back up top for McQuaid. Now Wilson works into the offensive zone, stops up, pinned to the wall there by Ketty, who's lost his stick. And now down low, McQuaid. Up for O'Toole. Cormier, back to O'Toole. Back up top for Cormier, sends one towards the net, that's off a stick. And into the corner, McQuaid will pick it up on the far side. Wilson works his way behind the net. Goes up the wall to O'Toole. O'Toole to Cormier, who backhands one to the half wall to McQuaid. And that shot's turned aside. McQuaid has quietly found himself an office, you could call it. A couple of goals. It all started back in Blacks Harbor a few weeks ago against the Bucks, ripping one short side. And last couple of weekends, he's found the back of the net from that very spot he is right now. And almost does it again. Sutter McQuaid back to the point for Cormier. Now O'Toole off the blocker, back door. Maxwell gets there in time. Around the wall, Cormier gets to it. Up top, sends one through into the glove of Maxwell. And he'll hold on for the faceoff. So the faceoff will come back down to the blocker side of Jaron Maxwell. 14 seconds left on the penalty to Josh Cameron. And the Vitos control once again off the draw. Pearson plays it back up top to the point to Max McKinnon. Across for Grayson Shanks. Some more power play time for Shanks. And Pearson gathers it up on the half wall. Back down low. Teams are back to even strength. This one gets back to McKinnon at the point. Goes back into neutral ice. Didn't like what he saw. McRae giving chase to McKinnon. Back out to neutral ice. And Whitaker goes up for Shanks. Shanks just had it roll off the toe of his stick up the half wall. And this one's sent back into the Vito zone. From the point, Gambin makes a move, goes down the wall to Pearl, back up top. That one sent down into the zone. Whitaker now will start the rush for the Vitos from behind his own net. Plays it up the half wall, and that one's into traffic. So Max McKinnon will start things up for the Vitos. Ahern. Back to McKinnon. And that one's played up the wall, back into neutral ice. Back up for McKinnon. Shanks first to it in the defensive zone. He'll get on his horse and send this up for Whitaker. Whitaker muscled off the puck by Gambin. Shanks will pick this back up towards the net. That's off a body in front. Shanks gets the puck back at the top of the circles, fires, and that one's just over the net. On the wall, Shanks picks it back up, sends one towards the net. That one's back at the top of the point. Godden's shot back through the crease. Little bobble there. Shanks will get it back at the point, sending a long shot from the point. That's just wide. Terrace trying to break it free, but it's played back down low. This one goes off the wall past Godden at the point, and that'll be an icing call. Charge to the Wildcats. So another face-off coming down here. 14:21 to go in the second period. Greeley and Breen will face off. Breen able to tie up Greeley off the draw. Terrace working out to center with Nickerson. Nickerson drops it back for Terrace. Try to make a move on the half wall. Down to Nickerson. That one goes behind the net of Riva. And out to center. Cooling stops it for Livingstone. Back to Cooling. Up ahead for Greeley. All alone. Greeley off the blocker of Maxwell. Now down low, Livingstone trying to make his way to the net. Couldn't pull that one back to the forehand to elevate it. And that'll be sent down the ice by Nickerson. An icing call to the Cats. $13:29 to go here in the second period. And still a 4-0 lead for the Vitos. Nickerson will face off here with Alex Cutler. Played cross ice. Nickerson pokes it further into the offensive zone. Ketty down there giving chase as well as Terrace. And that's a quick shot into the glove of Luca Riva. He's not had to face many early on. That's just the 8th of the game for Riva. But he's able to snag that, hold on for the face-off. Back to the point. Gosling sends one through. That's off a shin pad of Cormier in front. And worked back out by Pearson to McKinnon. Max McKinnon still working his way around the zone. Drops it back into the corner. Gosling first to it. But Pearson and Cutler doing a good job down low of working that puck free. On the near side, Pearson back up top to the point to McKinnon. Makes a move back down the half while he goes. And now to the slot. That one's off the post from Pearson. McKinnon elects to pinch for a second. Decides not to. This one's back out to center. Cormier to McKinnon. And he'll go back up to Noah Cormier. To Bellier. Leaves it there for Cormier, who's got speed working up. Drops for Bellier. Shoots. And that's off the pad of Jaron Maxwell. Cormier gathers it up back behind the net. Sends it up the wall. Almost able to turn one back the other way. But it gets played back to center by McKinnon. And into the offensive zone. Or not. That one went off the linesman into the bench. So the linesman taking a stinger there. 11:51 to go in the second period. The faceoff will come back outside the Wildcat zone. Banks wins that draw back. Up the wall. Cross ice, rather, as Gambon gets the feed from Cameron McCrae. And Banks first to it on the far side. Work to the slot. Wilson trying to find an open man. He's pressured down low. McCrae able to get this one back into the corner. McQuaid stops up. Up the far side they go. That one couldn't find a stick, and Ringette will send it back down into the offensive zone. Up ahead to O'Toole. He works into the offensive zone. That one offside at the line. So a face-off will come. We'll take a look at the league standings coming into this one. The Vitos sitting in fourth. The Wildcats back down at 14. 6-18-2 their record on the season. So two teams down at either end of the spectrum when it comes to the standings, but the Wildcats looking ahead to tomorrow. That's the big one for them. The rematch in Kingston with the Cape Breton Jets. The Jets losing today in a shootout to the Vitos, or to the V's, excuse me. So they pick up a point, but not the two. So they're moved up to 18 points. The Wildcats with 14, they can get to within 2 points of the Jets tomorrow with a win in Kingston. This one's played towards the net. Maxwell's on it, and he'll cover up. Face-off will come back to his glove side. Ahern on the draw with Breen. Breen wins that one back to the corner. And Godden's shot goes just wide from the point. Whitaker trying to get on it down low. This one's played up the wall for Terrace. Trying to send a man free. That's Neckerson on the far side. Terrace gets control. Back to Neckerson, and a bobbling puck just couldn't be settled. It's back out to the slot and neutral ice as Whitaker works it in. His shot turned aside by Maxwell. Off the paddle, right up into the glove, and he'll hold on with 9:57 left to go in the second period. Peyton Keddy able to win the draw, back for Gambin. And that one's sent all the way down. Smart call by the linesman to wave that icing off. McKinnon and Cormier down low, but it's worked out front by Blandon. That one's turned aside by Riva. And he'll hold on for the face-off. Blandon looking to extend his point streak. Gambin from the point. That one's blocked. Ringette has to quickly work back. He's got Case and Cooling all over him. Cormier and McKinnon play pitch and catch before Cormier hit Cooling up the ice. Gambin. There's a couple of Vitos all over him. That's Livingstone and Cooling, probably the two that you don't want. Cooling to Livingstone in the slot. That's turned aside. Maxwell had it there, and he's got to sprawl out and cover up to make sure the Vito skipper doesn't get his third of the game. Off the draw, Cooling goes back to the point, a quick pass into the slot. Cormier picks it up, and that one's off his stick. Gathers it up, goes backhand into traffic. Gosling there to turn that one aside. Cormier will get back to the point. Livingstone on the chase, as well as Greeley. That one finds Cooling on the half wall, but he's unable to hold the line. Cormier back down low with McKinnon. Working up from his own end. Max McKinnon tried to flip one ahead for Trip Livingstone. And that one's down the ice for an icing call. So back down to the Wildcat zone we go. Some other action across the league. Two more games left to come after this one. 5:30 up in Port Hawkesbury. The Cabot Highlanders and Kings Hockey Club. And then at 7 from Colchester, the Eastern Dukes will make their way to play the Fundy Thunder. the Thunder losing last night 8-2 to the Basin Armada. A huge offensive explosion last night for the Armada in the third period, scoring 6 goals, moving them up into first place. But with a win here today, the Vitos can climb up the standings. They'll definitely be scoreboard watching that game up in Port Hawkesbury, because if the Highlanders fail to gain 2 points in that one, the Vitos will jump back up tied in second with the Eastern Dukes, as long as the Dukes don't pick up any points down in Colchester this evening. So some scoreboard watching for the Vitos to do tonight after this one here. This one's played into the offensive zone corner. Nickerson pins Pearson to the wall out front. That shot from Bellier couldn't make its way to the net. Bellier will head off the ice. Back to the point. Godden winds and fires. That one well high and wide over the net. O'Toole now on it, trying to work it further ahead. This one's picked free by Cutler at the point. Gets it to Godden. That one almost escapes the line, but that one stays in. Pearl and Godden say hello down low. This one's poked back to the top of the zone. Comes out, and the Vitos will have to touch up as Gosling sends a long pass up through center. That one's off the stick of Pearl. Just over 6 minutes left to go here in the second period, as Daigle works in. The second-year Vitos forward makes his way into the corner, plays it back up top for Tennyson Godden. Now to neutral ice. This is picked up by Arbo, sent around the wall. And now Cameron into the slot. Blandon, that one just high and wide on the blocker side off the glass. It lands back up top on the net, and what a chance for Madden Blandon. He's got 10 points in his last 10 games. Could have had 11 right there. Now Ketty will face off once again with Daigle. And Alexander Daigle able to work this one over to the half wall. This one comes free. And now worked out to center ice. Daigle giving chase along with Wilson down low. Wilson met there by Peyton Ketty. But he's still got it. Cameron Wilson try to work one out front, and that one turned aside by Maxwell. Gets back to the point. Arbo towards the net. McKinnon. Back out to center ice. And that'll go the length of the ice for an icing call. This one charged to the Vitos, so an offensive zone draw coming here for the Wildcats. Shots 34-10 in favor of the Vitos. McRae from the point. That one out of play into the netting. Another face-off to come. Face-off is won. Whitaker controls into the offensive zone. This one's worked up ahead for Pearl. He'll chip one into the offensive zone. but he's muscled off the puck there by Sutter McQuaid. Out to center. Troop after that. Pearson took a tumble, or Ahern took a tumble and allowed Troop to work up through center ice. This one's behind Riva. And Whitaker will play this one further out to center. Pearson down low, up the wall to Ahern. Down low, Pearson tried to play that one up the wall, but he's pinched off there by Colby Troop. 3.5 left to go here in the middle frame. Whitaker makes a move. Sends a shot through. Maxwell has it. The rebound pops free back onto the stick of Whitaker. And now Cohen Pearl finally gets this one out of the defensive zone for the Cats. It's worked back behind Luca Riva, and Grayson Shanks now with speed. Up through center, Shanks turned aside momentarily by Terrace. And this one will be sent down the ice for an icing call. Once again, 2:49 left to go in the second. And the Vitos haven't found the back of the net for the majority of the second period since the start of the period. So good job by the Wildcats to kind of fend off the offensive onslaught that has been brought to them by the Vitos as Nolan Breen works it out of the zone. This one's around the wall for Jack Terrace. And now Greeley up ahead for Livingstone. He's got two. Drops for Kaysen Cooling. Back into the slot. There it is. Trip Livingstone is third of the game. That makes it 5-0 for the Vitos. Cutler will face off back at center with Peyton Ketty. Alex Cutler able to win that one back. Almost poked free by Patrick Camo. And now Camo giving chase down on the near side. That's offside. They'll touch up. Back onto the chase. The Wildcats go. It's Blandon giving chase down low. That's sent into the Vitos bench. So face-off back down to the Vitos zone will come to the glove side of Luca Riva. 1:56 left in the second. Cutler and Ketty once again. This one's tied up off the draw. Blandon giving chase down low as well as Patrick Camo. Gambin trying to work it free. Poked off the stick by Blandon. He'll throw one back in front. Camo trying to jam one on the far side. This one gets back to Ketty at the point. Fan on the shot. And Bellier's got to race away. Trying to get past one. Couldn't get past the other. And now Gambin back from behind his own net. Sends one off the wall. Tried to find Camo off the bank. And that one will go the length of the ice. 1:14 to go now. And the face-off coming back to the glove side of Jaron Maxwell. This one comes back to Wilson at the point. His shot's off the blocker and down the ice. Linesman say no icing. McKinnon back for it. Back to the final 60 seconds here in the second period as Greeley works it ahead. Or Wilson, excuse me. Up the far side. O'Toole couldn't get a stick on it. Wilson now gives chase. Ringette plays it cross ice for Gambin. He makes a move. The Wildcats captain trying to get up ice and get something to go. Banks sends one towards the net. Gambin trying to drag it. And that one's picked up by Cormier. But not out. O'Toole now. Up the wall for Cormier. That one's jammed into traffic. Banks looking to drag one free. This one gets to the point for Jack Ringette. And he sends it into the far side corner. McKinnon's on it with 4 to go. And that'll do it. So through 2 here from Windsor. The St. John Vitos lead the Valley Wildcats 5-0 on High Button Sports. Stay tuned because the third period is coming right up. Back inside the West Hand Sports Complex for the third period of play between the St. John Vitos and the Valley Wildcats. Through 2. It's a 5-0 lead for the Vitos over the Wildcats, but that hasn't come without saying. The Wildcats putting forth a valiant effort, a couple of power plays, and a hat trick from the captain, Trip Livingstone, is the difference so far in this one. And we'll get set right back at center. Cutler and Ketty on the draw. Face-off won by the Vitos, sent up the wall. Pearson ahead for Cutler, and that's into the offensive zone. Troop tried to get there first, just couldn't get a stick on it. It's around the wall for Blandon. Blandon goes in through center, tried to find Camo. Camo lays a bump down low. And this one's played all the way down the ice. An icing call charged to the Vitos. 43 seconds into this one. So the face-off coming back down to the glove side of Luca Riva. A whole new quintuplet coming out for the Wildcats. Gambin keeps it in at the point. He's going to walk around, try to send one down to Banks. Banks, Terrace, and Breen, the trio of forwards out here for the Wildcats. Maybe their top line, if you could call it that. A little bit of mix-up throughout the season, but these three have been three of the most offensively gifted Wildcats all season, along with Cohen Pearl, Madden Blandon, and Cameron McRae. This one's sent out through center. Terrace whacks at it. Breen just couldn't get complete control. It's played back by Pearson. And Terrace picks up that loose puck, sending it into the zone. Riva out to play it. Now Cormier up the wall. This one's backhanded by O'Toole. And now McKinnon back for it. Across for Cameron Wilson. He's working his way into the offensive zone. That one's off a stick. Up into the netting. And a face-off will come. 18:03 left to go here in the final period of play. The Vitos and myself headed back to Moncton after this one. The Vitos with a game tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. at the Chief Young Eagle Recreation Center in Elsie Pugtog. And myself heading further down to the Harbor City. So even though the Vitos are here in Nova Scotia this weekend, still a trip to St. John in the books for myself. Grayson Shanks keeps it in at the point. Wilson. This one's out to center. Penalty coming now. It's going to be an interference call. We'll see who gets this one. And it will be Wilson, so a penalty to Cameron Wilson will send the Wildcats to the power play. Greeley comes in to take the draw. One of the best face-off men for the Wildcats against Zach Banks. And Greeley wins it. Shanks will play it off the wall. It doesn't escape the zone. And on the half wall, Banks controls. Down low for Breen. Looked to switch with him, but Breen unable to make the move in time. McRae back up the wall. Gambin couldn't hold the zone. Trying to fend off Greeley at the same time. Terrace now working up through center. Lift the stick and pokes that one ahead. Terrace around the wall. Breen trying to get there first. It's back to the point for Gambin. Breen down low. Intercepted by Greeley and played around the wall. Shanks is first to it. And this one's kept in. Terrace down low. Works it out front. And that shot goes off a shin pad. Breen drops for McRae. And that one's off the pad. Riva leaves a rebound in front. And that's turned aside. Shanks will send it down the ice. Out to play it comes Maxwell, up for Madden Blandon. And now McRae walking into the offensive zone. 35 seconds left to go on the penalty to Cameron Wilson. And now it's Pearl. Setting up, going back door, looking across for McRae. Just couldn't get his stick on it. Now 15 seconds to go on the penalty. Pearl all the way back into his own zone. This one's up the wall. A pass ahead for Pearson. He's walking in all alone to the backhand. And his stick was tied up on the way to the net. He couldn't get a shot off as Arbo sends one towards the net. It's blocked in front by Gambin. Cooling out to take control. Case and Cooling from the top of the zone. That one's turned aside. Ringette gets a pad on it. Cooling drops it off for Tennyson Godden. And that one stripped by Zach Banks, and he tries to go upstairs on the far side. That one just missed the top corner and rimmed all the way around into the Wildcat zone, but they'll start up back from center. Banks. This one found the stick of Gambin, but he tried to work it in. It was poked away and back into Vitos' possession now. Cormier to McKinnon. But now Terrace trying to work in for the Wildcats. It's poked away, and now the captain Livingstone away once again. And Maxwell gets a piece of it. McKinnon trying to walk the line, unable to hold the zone, so Livingstone will have to come touch up. Cooling and Livingstone back out together, creating a bunch of offense so far in this one. Multiple points for either of them. Cormier tried to pinch up on Terrace, and that one's played around the wall. McKinnon gets the puck on the far side, working up, try to cut in through center. That one taken away. Terrace goes across on the far side. Shanks there first to it, makes a nice play, and he'll walk into the offensive zone. Grayson Shanks sends one towards the net. That's gloved up by Jared Maxwell, and he'll hold on for the face-off. 13:25 left to go in the final frame. Shots are 43-12 in favor of the Vitos. They lead 5-0. Wilson off the face-off, plays it back to Shanks, and he gets the return feed. Wilson dragging in, and the rebound is swallowed up by Maxwell. He'll pounce on the rebound. And the face-off will come back to Maxwell's blocker side. Shanks at the top of the zone, goes back down to Wilson, cross ice. Pinching in on the far side was Sutter McQuaid. And now Shanks pinches up, lays a bump to Madden Blandon. Cross ice, Wilson first to it, lifts the stick. trying to work in. And now up the near side. Daggle lays a bump onto Blandon and the linesman at the same time. Pearl sends one in, and he's offside. So face-off will come back outside the zone. 12:41 left in the third. Up into center. This one's played into the zone. Riva lets it go around for Godden. He plays it up the wall, doesn't escape the zone, and it's played back in by Colby Troop. That one played up the wall. Gosling tried to stretch a pass out for Banks. And a nice and goal. Charge to the Wildcats. So 11:49 left on the clock, and we'll head back down to the Wildcats zone. Down low, Cutler tied up. This one's moved up the near side. Camo try to get a stick on it. Patrick Camo. Back down for Colby Troop. They'll send one around the wall. Pearson there for the Vitos. This one's played out of traffic. Whitaker tried to go upstairs. And the shot from the point goes wide. Terrace now trying to work up through center. His shot just underneath the pad of Riva. We've seen it before. Jack Terrace can fire one home from just about anywhere. Off the draw. The Vitos control. This one's sent up the wall. Ringette has that one poked off the stick by Livingstone. He's going to work in. And Maxwell turns him aside again. Two breakaways for Trip Livingstone in the third period, and Jaron Maxwell's stood up to the task. Livingstone goes across for Max McKinnon. He tries to work his way into the offensive zone. McKinnon in the corner, sent out front. That's back into the corner. Up the wall, Terrace. Back down for Greeley. Terrace trying to get a stick on it, and this one's sent back towards the net by Cormier. Now back to the point. Cormier leaves it for Livingstone, gets the return feed, goes to McKinnon. Some good puck movement there from the Vitos defense, and they score. Max McKinnon able to find a hole, and that makes it 6-0 for the Vitos. Max McKinnon, the league's leading point-scoring defenseman. He's got himself another. And the Vitos extend their lead. Madden Blandon sends a bump to Wilson out at center. Blandon, one of the most solid players in the league. Shanks try to go up the wall. Blandon had a stick there. Wilson trying to work it forward. Now Shanks. Try to poke it ahead. Wilson moves it forward, takes a bump from Blandon. This one's offside. Shanks has to touch up alongside O'Toole. And now Daigle. So an easy breakout here for the Wildcats. But a long pass ahead. Blandon sends it right down onto Riva. And he'll be forced to hold on to this one. .9:42 left up on the clock. Ketty and Ahern on the draw. Ahern wins this one back. And now Shanks trying to set up from his own zone. Plays it up the wall. Ahead to Ahern. He gets a feed from Pearson. Just couldn't get a stick on it and play it into the zone. Now back ahead for Ahern. Plays one off the bucket. And now into the slot of Ahern. Once again, this one's chipped high and wide. Now Shanks in his own zone. This one's played to the far side. Riva has this one. He leaves it there for Grayson Shanks. He'll stop up behind the net. Goes back across for McQuaid, who sends a long pass out through center. Now worked up by Bellier. Now Cutler working in. Finds Bellier. Goes down to McQuaid. Pearson was stripped down low. This one's worked up by Cohen Pearl. He tried to break out free, but back to it. First on the puck was Sam Whitaker. Tennyson Godden picks up the puck behind his own net, chips it up the wall, works forward. Ringette tried to seal him off at center, but Godden able to work his way around the bump. This one sent down the ice, and an icing call charge for the Wildcats with 7:37 to go. Face off won by the Wildcats. Ringette controls off the draw. And a long shot from the point turned aside. And Maxwell will hold on for the face-off. Cutler will work in on the draw against Cameron McRae. And the loose puck works its way to the top of the zone. McRae chips it out past the blue. Now a chance in front. Camo trying to race down. Just couldn't get a stick on that one. Now Gambin trying to make a couple of moves at the blue line. That's worked in offside. Now Camo pinches that one off at center. Gambin throws it further into the offensive zone. McKinnon picks it up. He'll work up the near side wall. Max McKinnon, such a smooth skater. Been saying that ever since the first game of the season versus Cabot. Cormier from the wall sends one down around the end wall. Cormier plays it back. Up through center. Ringette gets a stick on it. Plays it back across for Ketty. Cormier pinching up. Couldn't get a stick on that one. Now it's back down to the Vito zone. Whitaker trying to race ahead and break this one out quickly. But it's poked into the corner for Cohen Pearl. Pearl up top. And that pass down low by Gambin was turned aside, and it's kept in at the line. And now that one will be offside. Gambin worked in ahead of the play after it popped outside the zone. So a face-off draw will come right outside the Vito's bench. This one's picked up and sent cross ice for Livingstone. He'll work into the forehand, and Maxwell's got him for a third time. McKinnon across, that shot from Cormier, and back again. Cormier was practicing the one-timers in warm-up earlier today. Cooling stops up at the top of the zone, finds McKinnon, has a wide-open net. Maxwell gets the blocker on it. A little bit of hesitation from McKinnon allowed Maxwell to get the blocker down. Now Livingstone fires one on, and Maxwell is turning it aside again. 51 shots Maxwell has faced, and turning about every single one on the last shift aside. He's faced Trip Livingstone on a breakaway 3 times this third period and turned him aside every single time. Greeley, Livingstone, Cooling with Shanks and McQuaid out there for the Vitos. Terrace, Blandon, and McCrae for the Cats. Jack Terrace working out. He's pinched off by Grayson Shanks. A couple of 21s running into each other. This one's played in front. Terrace on the back door, and they score. Jack Terrace stays with it, gets the puck off the rebound in front. Finds some open cage up over the pad of Luca Riva. And the Wildcats have got themselves on the board. That's one thing about this team. They might be down and out, but they'll never give up on the scoreboard. Now Wilson playing one up the wall. He's pitched off by McCrae, but he works it forward. Gosling, though, plays it ahead for Cameron McCrae. He's trying to break in, but Shanks first to it. Grayson Shanks up ahead for Wilson. And now Alexander Daggle trying to break in all alone. Daggle held up at the line, or at the slot rather, and now back with it in through center. O'Toole pokes it ahead for God Nilsson. A shot that's off the mask, I believe, of Maxwell. And now back to the point. Daggle sends a shot through that's off a body into the corner. And now O'Toole sends one ahead that's off the pad into the corner. Camo couldn't get it outside the zone. This one's back to the line. Arbo able to keep it in momentarily, but it escapes the zone, and McCrae will have to reset here for the Valley Wildcats. They'll play it up through center. Ketty takes a bump from Wilson. This one's played back in by Riva up the half wall. Arbo leaves one down there for Godden, goes up the wall and out to center. That's off the stick of Alexander Daggle, and Gambin has to retreat and pick this one up for the Cats. Back from his own end, Thomas Gambin out through center. That one rolled off his stick, and Godden plays it back to the line. Kept in by Terrace. And now Terrace gives chase down low, trying to poke that puck free. He does. Moved up to Arbo. They'll send this one up through center. And Gammon sends a long shot down into the wall. It's picked up by Arbo, left there for Godden. And this one finds the stick of Bellier out through center. He'll drive in, stops up on the half wall. And now Pearson out through the slot. That one missed any stick in black, so the Wildcats able to work it down the ice. Cormier. Plays it up the wall into traffic. And now McKinnon back for it. He'll start from his own zone. He'll find Noah Cormier. Back to McKinnon. And now back to Cormier. A little bit of hot potato down behind their own net. And this one finds Pearson. A long stretch pass back door. And Maxwell could have got a piece of that. Not 100% sure if Maxwell got the glove there, but either way, he got to the far post before Ahern could shelf it. And now Cameron up through center. This one's played across to Cameron McRae. Trying to make a move on McKinnon. That one's sent into the far side corner. Cormier plays it back around for Max McKinnon. McKinnon leaves it for Cormier. And that one's bobbled by Cormier for a second. Sent up through center. And now Ahern sends it back out to center ice. Josh Cameron up through center. Now Shanks. Down behind the net. This one's played up the wall. Shanks trying to keep it in. But it's poked free. Blandon trying to get after it. Riva way out of his net. Poking that one out of danger. And that'll do it here from Windsor. Some rough stuff at the whistle. Blandon getting into it. And that'll do it here from Windsor. The Vitos pick up a 6-1 win over the Valley Wildcats. Tomorrow, the Wildcats will head off to Kingston to face the Cape Breton Jets. And the St. John Vitos will head off to Moncton for their game in the morning in Elsie Pugtog. Dayton Camo for High Button Sports saying thank you for tuning into this one. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll have the call of the Fundy Kraken senior game tomorrow at the Q-Plex. But for now, have a good one.